Okay, we're back at the Doo LRV, or Larval as I call it. A couple of things I've done. Did have this little rinky-dink motorcycle battery in it, and I changed it to a full-size automotive battery. Essentially I riveted down with some big banana peel rivets and some fender washers a battery box, and painted my battery terminals. I also wired up a bilge pump to that through there. I used the same battery that I have in my van. In the event that I need a battery for my van in a pinch, I've got one. Been to the lake too many times and had it crank about 5 or 6 times and then die. The battery is right on the hull, and Walmart will not warranty one of those matte motorcycle batteries for the Sea-Doo or the boat batteries. They won't warranty them. That's a 2-year free replacement, so you can beat the dog crap out of it on the water, and when the plates break loose, Walmart gives you a new battery. That's the 3rd new battery I've had, probably since 2008, something like that, 2007. But I've always gotten a warranty on them. Second thing I did is back here I have a bilge pump, and what I did is, of course I have it fused, and from the glove box I have a switch, and what it does is it takes the place of those scuppers that were back there. The scuppers is another bad idea. They're little plastic gizmos that lay on the bottom of the bilge, and they have hoses that go up to the back here, all the way to the back, and you'll see them, they plug right in. What you need to do is disconnect those and plug up those holes somehow. Plug them up with a, another piece of hose and a screw in it or whatever that's really good and secure, and you won't get any more water in your boat. Because I know all of you have water in your boats from Scuppers. I no longer have water in my boat because I no longer have Scuppers. I have a bilge pump. The bilge comes out in the back through a hose. I have the original bilge pump as well. It may or may not work. Probably not, because it's a Sea-Doo. Here's the only good thing about this boat. It has a Rotax engine made in Austria. If it was actually made by Bombardier, it wouldn't work either. I have a special wrench to take this big pipe off here. If you take this big pipe off, I'll tell you another trick. Take this big pipe off and your air cleaner and your little plastic deals here that go down to your air cleaner. And there's 2 hoses that go into the top of your reed blocks, and the hoses supply oil to the engine in a namby-pamby kind of a fashion. There's an oil pump on the front of the engine. What I've done is I've disconnected those 2 hoses and I've plugged them up. Make sure you plug them up. Don't let air into the engine. Just raw air. Never let raw air into a 2-stroke. Drained my oil tank, and I've made sure there wasn't any oil in it, so when the pump was working it wasn't pumping oil into the bilge or whatever left oil that was there into the bilge. Then I mix my gas and oil. I take a half a quart of oil and I mix it with 5 gallons of gas. What kind of oil do I use? I use synthetic oil. Personally I use Klotz. Bombardier oil, that's fine, whatever. I use the synthetic stuff though. Seems to work really well. Mix your oil and your gas. Don't depend on the oil and the gas to magically happen, because it won't. This little jewel right here costs $2,000. That's a rebuilt little jewel, not a new one. And then you have to do the labor as well. I know. I bought 2 of them. This little plate right down here, this little plastic plate, it has little wing nuts. Take the little wing nuts off, pull your plastic plate off. There's a grease zerk down there that greases your drive. Grease that every season. Of course, you don't let it set with gas in it for a long time. I start mine in the winter time also 2 or 3 times. I don't use the gas additive thing, the Sta-Bil or whatever it's called. I just keep fresh gas in it. In Oklahoma we can buy real gas instead of the motor fuel stuff with ethanol in it. You can buy real gas here. When I had to put the battery box in it, I had to cut down my ice chest, and I welded it back together with some wire, plastic wire. That I think it's ABS plastic wire. Buy it Harbor Freight, and they have a little device that'll do it. It's pretty cool. Actually works. In the front of the boat, I'm not going to open this, but I'll show you where it's at. When you open the front of your boat, there's a little space in here that you can put stuff. There's a wall. There's 2 plugs. You undo the little plugs and you pull them out, and the little wall piece will come out. And you'll see all manners of gas hoses going all over the place. There'll be a little bowl, plastic bowl. You can unscrew that, unscrew it, take it out, take the filter out of it, clean it all out, backwash it with gas, clean it all out, and then put it all back up in there and screw it tight. That's your fuel filter. If you don't clean that out, you'll end up having to take your carburetors apart, because little minute bits of crap will get in your carburetors, and there's filters in your carburetors as well, fuel filters as well, in your carburetors. And because this is a Sea-Doo, not a Yamaha or a Kawasaki, it's nearly impossible to get the carburetors off of it. Now, some special tools. That big bent piece right there is a drive shaft from a whatever Sea-Doo. They pretty much have the same splines, but it allows you, when you get the drive off the back, to block the engine from turning and unscrew your impeller with it, so you can change your impeller in your wear ring. I also suggest buying a set of metric 6-point hex key wrenches. That wrench there, the homemade one, is to get up underneath the 15mm bolt that holds the expansion chamber on, or the water outlet. That's the made one. That works a lot better than this one, but that's what I used originally. Sometimes you got to make your own tools, folks. There's my water outlet right there. That's where it comes out the back from my bilge pump when I turn it on. So, I got the boat where it's dry inside, where the engine runs well and it gets oiled, where it starts, because the battery capacity is greatly increased. All these things like that make for a much better, more pleasing experience, especially when you buy a Sea-Doo. Like I said, buy a Yamaha or Kawasaki, folks, because Bombardier hasn't a clue on what they're doing, or didn't. I don't know about now, but it seems like Kawasaki and Yamaha had a lot better deal. You will need one of these also. This is a Sea-Doo conveyance device, and what this does is it allows you to take it out of your shed and move it around so you can work on it, because you'll be doing this 50 or 60 times a year if you buy a Sea-Doo. So make sure you have a Sea-Doo conveyance device, and there you go. That's the larval, and I do mean larval.